Hey, what's up everybody? Coach Kyle here, and if you like this video, please give it a like, a thumbs up, subscribe, follow for future content, look back at old videos, there's a bunch of them, and if you find this topic especially helpful or interesting, please share it. Today I'm going to talk about how to potentially use an altitude mask. And if you haven't seen one of these, but I'm sure you have, they're just a mask that people wear while running or doing other endurance activities, but they're altitude training masks, and I've never worn one before because I think I've thought they're stupid. And the reason I don't agree with how people wear them is they wear them while exercising. But that means you're lowering the quality, you're lowering how well you can exercise and train. I think you should maybe wear them while not training. And that's because you want to run to the best of your abilities while running. So don't wear it while running. But if you're sitting around here at your office or whatever, you can wear the mask to potentially have some beneficial adaptations to your body. And I had a real interesting short little back and forth with Drew Griffiths on Twitter, and he had a interesting article. I'll link to it actually. Do altitude masks work? And he sent me an article and I asked him, okay, depends on what you mean by works. So it makes breathing harder because it restricts breathing, but it doesn't. Altitude masks don't actually lower the oxygen content of the air, which is why running at altitude is difficult. There's less oxygen in the air that you're breathing in. The concentration is lower. It's not that it's not harder to breathe. There's just less to breathe. So, like the physical, like if you have an altitude mask in your hand, there's nothing in it that actually lowers the oxygen concentration of the air you're breathing in. It just makes it harder to breathe. But the interesting thing about that, and he sent me an article, the study was elevation training mask induces hypoxemia, but utilizes a novel feedback signaling mechanism. So hypoxemia is when there's lowered oxygen concentration in the blood. Hypoxia is when there's lowered oxygen in, I think, working tissue. So there's a slight difference there. But the key thing here is that the elevation training mask induces the hypoxemia, and I think this article from the NASM is talking about the same study or a similar one, but they say what may be significant is the mechanism by which the mask was creating hypoxemia, which researchers said resulted from the rebreathing expired CO2 trapped in the user's mask. They also remarked that hypoxemia created by restricted airflow is a novel and seemingly effective way to mimic altitude without ever traveling to higher elevation. So it's that rebreathing of the CO2, which could potentially mean that different altitude, simulation masks might not have that rebreathing of expired CO2 mechanism. However, this mask does it purposely or not. I have my doubts. But so the idea is that if you wear it at rest, then you're kind of inducing that hypoxemia while at rest. So it's that the live high, train low philosophy is when athletes live at elevation, but they'll travel down to a lower elevation for their track workouts, their tempo runs, etc. And this is often the case because they can't train as well up here, so they just live up here for 22 hours out of the day, and then they drive down to a lower elevation so they can train more effectively. So I don't have an elevation mask. I've always been a little tempted to test one out. Maybe like just wear one for a couple hours a day here at the office. I don't know. I feel like they're a little silly wearing them out and about while exercising. But if I had one, that's probably how I would consider wearing it. So I don't know if I'll ever get one. Maybe I'd try one if I found one for sale or something, a cheaper one, not a cheap one, one that's not retail. But yeah, so that's my thoughts. Drop your comments, thoughts below, questions, and if you've thought about trying them, if you've tried them. I'm interested in knowing what your experiences were because I've never worn one before. But as always, you keep running and I'll keep coaching. Thanks, bye.